all 3 videos in 3 days. Hey garden maters, welcome to Corner Homestead. So I'm finally back in the kitchen trying to get accomplished some of my much overdue canning for the winter. My pantry is in dire need of filling, so it is overtime to get some of this canning done. And because I do get so many requests on canning videos from the garden maters, I wanted to be sure to bring you all along. And this one is going to be a trilogy, a little mini series of 3 different videos on canning 3 different soups and getting them done to put on the shelf for winter. Now these videos are going to be back to back. So although it's going to take me more than 1 day to do all of this canning, I am going to be sure to edit the videos as I get them completed, and you'll be able to see all 3 videos in 3 days. Yesterday I spent all day prepping for a huge canning job. So yesterday I washed and made sure all of my jars were cleaned. I've got 28 jars sitting on the table waiting to be filled. And today I'm going to do a creamy chicken soup. I call it creamy chicken only because it is not your typical chicken soup. I want to use it as a chicken and dumpling type soup. Now, of course, you can't can dumplings. It's not advised to can anything with a flour content. So, the goal is to can the soup in a creamy type style so that when I open it, I can add dumplings or gnocchi. I just love the gnocchi. So that's what I'm doing today. Creamy chicken soup. Let's get started. So in my prep time yesterday, I also did my chicken. Now normally I would put my chicken in a pot of water and just boil it. Take it out, cut it into pieces, put it back into the pot in the chicken stock that it produces. I didn't do that this time. I went ahead and browned my chicken first. I did all that prep yesterday. So I used boneless chicken breasts. I put them between 2 pieces of saran wrap and went ahead and used a mallet to beat them as flat as I could. I seasoned them this time with a little bit of salt and pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and chicken seasoning. And then I just browned them a little in the frying pan, about 5 to 10 minutes on each side. Took them out, and now I'm going to dice them up. Everybody, and I mean everybody, is going to make their soup different. You do not have to follow my recipe exactly. So whatever you like, add it into your soup. Whatever you don't, just leave it out. It's that simple. So normally, I would cut up a couple carrots and put it into the soup as well. But today, I'm just going to use a frozen bag of mixed vegetables. Already has carrots in it, so I'm not going to add extra carrots. I'm going to take a shortcut today. So, $1,000 question. How much water do you put into the pot? I cannot tell you how many times I have received comments saying, well, you didn't specify how much water you put into your pot. What do I use? This pot is an 8-quart pot. I do not measure the water. I just start out halfway full, about 4 quarts of water. After I add all my ingredients, if it needs more water, I add it, or chicken stock. I want this pot to be completely full so that I can get the most out of the canning job. So whatever pot you are using, just add the appropriate amount of water that you want to add. And now to give it like that creamy texture, so that when I go to open these jars, I can add my dumplings or my gnocchi. Cream of chicken soup. That is what I'm going to add to the pot to give it that extra flavor. So next thing I'm going to add is a couple of these chicken bouillon cubes. I get these at BJ's, but any chicken bouillon cube you have on hand, fine to use. If you have just the little square ones, which I also have those as well, you would probably put in more of those than you would these, because these are the soft cubes that are more like a paste than a hard bouillon. I'm going to start out with just 2 of these cubes in the pot. If I need more later, I'll just add them. Like I say all the time, make it your own. So you can see how full this pot is. Like I said, I started out filling it just halfway with water. So just 4 quarts in this 8-quart pot. And you can see it is nearly to the rim, which is perfect. It's exactly where I want it to be. So now I'm going to put the lid on this and I'm going to let it simmer. I'm going to give it a taste after about 30 minutes. Okay, so while the soup is cooking, I want to get my canning pot set up. Just a refresher course, you want to be sure that your pot is absolutely fine to do your canning job. Be sure to do your quality inspection checks before you use your pressure canner. So the main inspection check you want to do on your canner is your lid. Like I said, I can't specify it enough to be sure to check your seal. Now I did just use my canner a couple weeks ago. When I cleaned it very well, I always take out my seal and make sure to wash it very well. When I do that, that is when I inspect it to make sure there are no cracks, to make sure there is no dry rot within the seal. You want it to be flexible, pliable. You want it to be pretty much as pristine as possible. You know, just make sure it's well inside the lid, nothing is possibly wrong. Quality check number 2 on your lid is always your steam vent. Make sure you can see through that little hole. If it is blocked in any way, get it unblocked. As long as you can see through it, you know the steam is going to be able to escape before you add your weight. Pressure lock, you want to be sure there is a little seal, siliconed around the inside here. Again, make sure it's smooth, free of debris, nothing stuck up in there. Otherwise, this will not be able to close and pop up and you won't have pressure. So that's the main 3 things you want to check on your pressure canning lid before you use it. Trust me, be safe, not sorry. Now my pressure canner does have a little line in there, actually a few of them. Where is it? So they're pretty hard to see now because over the years of using this canner, it's starting to get this. It's clean, I promise you it's clean. Along here are 3 lines. You might not be able to see them too well, but you can definitely feel them. The very first line of this canner is 2 quarts. That's where you fill it up to when you're canning. Just 2 quarts of water. If you don't want to use a line, just use a quart mason jar. Fill it up twice and you're good to go. 2 quarts of water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar. Don't forget the vinegar. Vinegar in the water, it's going to reduce that white oxidation on your jars. Makes a world of difference. And no, I'm not saying you have to use vinegar. Oh my God, I gotta use vinegar. She's telling me to. No, it just makes a world of difference. It's preferred. Like the USDA prefers you don't can dumplings. It's preferred. About one. About two. Ooh. Oh my word. You want to can this soup in hot, sterile jars. So I'm just pulling them out of the really, really hot boiling water I have over here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm using pint jars for this batch. And it's going to look like a lot of broth because it is. But you're going to need that broth when you do your dumplings. So even though it's a soup, you still want to run something down to make sure you debubble. I always use this little spurtle. Be sure to wipe the rims very well with vinegar, paper towel soaked in vinegar. And I always go around them at least twice. And whatever you do, please don't skip this step or you will not get a seal. As you can see all the nasty yellow coming off of it. Nice lid with the band. Ooh, please be sure you don't over tighten. Finger tight, just use the fingertips, not the hand. I'm going to put these 4 into the canner a while and I'll work on the next 4. Now how many jars you're going to be able to get in your canner depends on your canner. The directions that came with this canner claims that it holds 9 pint-size standard jars. So of course to put the lid on, you want to make sure that you got it in place. Very well secure. Give it a little push down and turn to lock it in place. We're going to bump up the heat, wait for the steam to come out of the vent. Once it starts steaming really well, give it 10 minutes before you put that weight on. You want to ensure that all that air inside the pot is already out and it's nothing in there but pure steam and pressure. Okay, so it's been venting for 10 minutes and now is the time to put the weight on. Now, a lot of garden maters will send me comments or send me an email and ask how do they know how much to put on for the weight. It's all going to depend on where you're living and your elevation. So where I am, I just use 10 pounds of pressure for my elevation. If you are in a higher elevation, you will probably have to use 15 or 20 pounds of pressure. But as for determining the elevation of where you are, I wouldn't know that. That is something you would have to look up on your own. So on goes my weight. Immediately, my vent lock popped up, which is good. We wait for this to jiggle, and then we start our timer. There she goes. It's only been about 10 minutes, if that, and it's already jiggling. So I'm going to turn the heat down just to keep it rocking. Now I'm going to set my timer for 75 minutes. Okay, so the 75 minutes is finally up. Turn off the pot, just walk away. Wait for the pressure valve to go down. Then you can take the weight off and open her up. Now, of course, when you open this, you want to always tilt that lid away from your face. That steam is going to be mighty hot in there. we have our 9 little pints. I always take a towel and I like to cover them up. Okay, so there you have chicken soup, kind of in a creamy style. Now, of course, when you go to use it, I put in the extra broth because you're going to need that for whatever you're doing, whether you're doing your noodles or your dumplings. You're going to need that broth. Please, if you have never canned any of your homemade soups, I urge you to do it. It is so much better than store-bought. It's quite easy to do. Does take a little bit of work, but I'm telling you, the rewards in the end are so worth it. So tomorrow I'll be back to do another batch. I got 2 more soups that I'm going to be doing, and like I said, these videos are going to run back to back, so you won't miss a thing. So we'll be back in the kitchen again tomorrow to do another soup. What's it going to be? I hope you come back and find out. So until tomorrow, I hope you join me then. Love y'all. Take care. God bless. And I'll see you on the next video. Hey Garden Maters, so it's the next day and I just wanted to show you how my soup turned out. Every single jar sealed, which is great. They say canning is a labor of love because it takes so much time and effort to get it all done. So since I am the one who eats about a good 60% of everything that I can, don't think I'm conceited just because I love myself so much. Stay tuned for part 2 of this mini-series trilogy, because I'm coming up tomorrow with another great soup. Hope to see you here. I still got another batch to do yet tonight. But I will not go hungry this winter. For you. Somebody's at my door.